Well, good Saturday morning, everybody. It is March 27th, and it's a little bit dreary out there today. We're getting a little bit of moisture, still a little bit, but it rained overnight. Again, we need that for the crops, so praise God for that blessing of a little bit of moisture. Hope it continues. So today we are going to we just yesterday started chapter 6. It's just chapter 6, a short chapter. We are going to end chapter 6 and move into 7 tomorrow, or Monday, excuse me. Tomorrow we'll be preaching. So today we were going to talk about the arrest of Stephen. Yesterday, if you remember, we had Stephen and Philip and the others were appointed to deal with the daily distribution of the food among the widows. Apparently there had been some protests and some thought that there was neglect to the Hellenistic Jews, widows, as opposed to the ones that were more of Hebrew culture. Excuse me. We need to realize that in those days, just as there is today, you had some Jewish people that had, for several generations, had lived outside of Israel and had lived in various other places, and so they had adopted more of a cultural background. So they spoke Greek rather than being fluent in Hebrew and Aramaic. So just as it is today that you have people that could be Hebrew by their ethnicity, by their religion, but they're culturally more excuse me, they're culturally something and much more, or something else. I guess I can't talk today. One of the more interesting things when we were in Israel, our guide Mishi, it was German. His heritage was German. His father had immigrated to Israel just prior to the war, World War II, and luckily for Mishi that happened, and he was thoroughly German, and Mishi talked about kept saying his dad was a very German man, and Mishi had a German accent, actually. So that was very interesting, being Israeli and Jewish, or Germanic as far as their culture. So this is not an unusual thing to have these people that would be Hellenists, but still practice Judaism, and some of them may have been converts too. So they appointed these 7 men. They were selected to help with the distribution of the food, to basically wait on tables, as they say. But today we're going to get into Stephen is going to get arrested, and so we have to look at that and think about what's going on there and how do we apply that to our lives. So let's look at verses 8 to 15 in the 6th chapter of Acts. So then that will be the entirety of the 6th chapter, and we'll start chapter 7 on Monday. Stephen, full of grace and power, did great wonders and signs among the people. Then some of those who belonged to the synagogue of the Freedmen, as it was called, Cyrenians, Alexandrians, and others of those from Cilicia and Asia, stood up and argued with Stephen. But they could not withstand the wisdom and the spirit with which he spoke. Then they secretly instigated some men to say, "We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and God." They stirred up the people as well as the elders and the scribes. Then they suddenly confronted him, seized him, and brought him before the council. They set up false witnesses who said, "This man never stops saying things against this holy place and the law. For we have heard him say that this Jesus of Nazareth will destroy this place and will change the customs that Moses handed on to us." And all who sat in the council looked intently at him, and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. Okay. So Stephen is not just waiting tables, is he? He is out spreading the word. He is sharing the faith. And we look at this and we can say, okay, we oftentimes quote St. Francis of Assisi, though we don't know if he ever said this. It's attributed to St. Francis. The quote that says, "Preach the gospel always, and if necessary, use words." And we could look at that and talk about that as the way to emulate St. Francis. But guess what? St. Francis is also famous for having preached the gospel wherever he went. In fact, he was such that there are many stories and there are many illustrations of St. Francis out preaching to the wildlife and birds in particular. But he was so filled with the desire and the motive to preach the gospel wherever he went, that he was preaching to everything and everyone. He would basically crash parties and go in and preach the gospel. A good way to get booted out of some places, I suspect. And I'm sure he did get booted out. But nonetheless, he preached. So when that quote is a little misgiven. And what we see here with Stephen is he's given a job to tend to the more earthly needs, food for the widows, but yet he understands that as a Christian, he has a responsibility also to spread the word. It's not just left up to Peter and John and the others. Everyone has that obligation and that responsibility. That's part of what we signed up for, guys and gals. So that's what he's doing. Now, the synagogue of the Freedmen, that's a synagogue that was made up of ex-slaves or former slaves. And that sounds like a great place. That sounds like a great mission, doesn't it? That would be a mission trip, or not trip, but a mission obligation that I could get behind and say, hey, we need to help finance these guys, and they're helping people to transition from life as slaves to life as in the society. And so that sounds like a wonderful group, doesn't it? Well, guess what? Sometimes groups that sound wonderful have some malicious individuals and even some malicious intent behind them. So we have to be careful of the surface of optics of something and how something looks on the surface. What's really behind that? And there's definitely some dark hearts behind this, because they're not only arguing with Stephen, and when he defeats them, going away and sulking. No, they're drumming up false charges and to get him up in front of the Sanhedrin, and that could potentially cause him to be killed. So this is a very dark heart. This is a very, very, very dark heart. Anyone that would do this kind of a thing. And so we look at our society today. Do we see some groups that are like this? I guess I would say so, but I'm not going to name names, as they say. You can have to do that one on your own. But they're bearing up false witness. They're trying to get him. They can't counter his arguments. They can't best him in logic. So they're just going to shut him up. All right, that's what's going to happen here. And again, I see that today. So it's not a new phenomenon. This has been going on since time immemorial. So they are drumming up these charges against him, and they are going to have him face these false charges in front of the council. In fact, he is. He already is in front of the council here. He is sitting in front of the council. They have had these people come in and blaspheme him, bear false witness against him, and yet he is there in a state of serenity. He is there with the face of an angel. He's apparently absolutely unfeathered, unfluttered, or whatever word we want to use there. I can't think today. But he is completely at peace. He is calm as can be. And so Stephen is definitely spirit-filled and spirit-led. And that's another thing we want to be. We want to be in that place. It would be nice to think that if we were under that kind of accusation and that kind of prosecution, that we could be as calm and serene as Stephen is here. I'm not sure that we could pull it off. I'm not so arrogant as to think that, we could be like that. But we couldn't unless we were filled with the Spirit. And that's what he's got. That's what's going on with Stephen. So we're going to leave Stephen standing there, ready to face the Sanhedrin. And have to tune back in on Monday morning and see where it goes from there. But the message we walk away from this with is that we are called to be preaching as well. Preaching, teaching, and leading people to Christ. So with that, I'm going to let y'all go for today. Have a very, very blessed day. And please, please be a blessing to someone today. Come on back tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We will be live streaming worship. Or if you want, we will be in the sanctuary, and sanctuary is open. Come on in and join us and worship here in person. We'd love to see you. And don't forget, I'll keep billing it as we go along. Tomorrow is the beginning of Holy Week. It's Palm Sunday. And then we have Palm Sunday, then we have Maundy, Thursday service, which is at 7. Then we have the cross raising on Friday, which is at 3. And that's over on the empty lot next to the highway. So on the south side. So come on down at 3 o'clock. You can sit in your car if you want and listen. Or you can come out and hopefully it won't be raining that day. Come on out and join us to pull the cross up, because we'll have ropes there so people can actually help to erect the cross. So, and then of course we have Easter Sunday and all of the things going on Easter Sunday: sunrise service, breakfast, egg hunt, and regular service. So, see you later. Have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.